Hey guys, Francis here. Welcome to my building coach. So, if you're right at the start of this process, you're thinking about extending your home, then you'll probably have some difficult questions to answer. And the first one's often, what's possible? What can we build? How big can it be? What are we allowed? And all of those questions ultimately lead to, what will it cost? So, ideally, what you want is a really experienced builder with lots of spare time on their hands to sit down with you, talk about options, and to give you a reasonable estimate of cost for each of them. So you can consider all of those options and know roughly what they will cost and whether this is worth pursuing. Whether you can go ahead, whether you can afford to build something that will meet your needs. Now, unfortunately, those builders don't really exist. So it's very unlikely that you will find a builder who's willing and has the time to help you do that. Plus, builders are generally very reluctant to give estimates of costs, and I'll just briefly touch on why that is. So as a homeowner, what you're trying to do is to work out roughly what you can manage, what's possible, what it will cost, so you've got a starting point to work from. Now, from a builder's perspective, what often happens is people ask for estimates, but those estimates tend to become concrete. So when those same people get back to a builder who's given them an estimate, maybe 2, 3, 6 months later, and ask them for a quote, in the meantime, they will have got plans drawn, and they will probably have made some changes in the process of drawing those plans and getting planning permission, etc. And from the builder's perspective, this can be an awkward position because if anything's changed and the costs have increased, then their quote will be higher than their estimate was. But from the homeowner's perspective, even though it might not be reasonable, they're often still hoping that the builder is going to come back with a price that's in line with their original estimate. So an estimate can end up acting like an anchor for any future pricing for that job, even if changes get made, and it becomes very hard for anyone to let go of. So builders often get burnt by this and become reluctant to give estimates because those estimates tend to get anchored or fixed in the mind of homeowners. And unless the builder takes a lot of time working out an estimate really accurately, which often isn't even possible, then they will just avoid giving them in the first place, which from a homeowner's perspective makes it really difficult because that's exactly what you need in order to work out whether this is possible. So it can feel like a bit of a catch-22. You need an estimate of cost as a start point for your extension, but builders don't want to give them. So what is the solution? Rather than trying to work out an estimate for a specific project, what I suggest you do is work out what the average cost is per square metre to build an extension where you live. Now, I'm specifically saying where you live because the cost of building the same extension varies so much depending on where you live in the country. And it roughly lines up with the house price value. Now, I've talked a little bit about this in another video, but that's the situation. So if you live in a low house price area, your extension could cost £50,000, let's say. And if you live in a very high price area, then the exact same extension could cost £100,000 easily. So in order to work out whether you can afford to build what you want, I suggest that instead of trying to get an estimate for the whole project, that instead you find out an average cost per square metre to build an extension in your area, which is much easier to do. The way you do this is to start by asking local architects, house designers, local builders, what the average cost per square metre is to build an extension in your area. And the more people you ask, the more accurate your figure will be. And you'll probably end up with a price range, which is great. I'd also suggest asking friends, neighbours, colleagues, the same question. They're probably not going to know a price per square metre figure, but you're looking for people who've built an extension local to you recently. And what you want to know is how much did it cost and how big is it? Then you can work out the cost per square metre. Now, once you've got that average cost per square metre figure, then what you can do is take your budget, as in the maximum that you're happy to spend on the whole project, and divide it by the cost per square metre, and that will give you a maximum extension size in square metres that you can afford to build, which is about as accurate as you can get at this start point. Once you've answered that question, then you basically know whether or not you can build something that will meet your needs with the money you've got. If you found this helpful, then like and subscribe for more home extension advice. Take care.